The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight.
Did I say on topic? Are you stupid? Thank you all very much, and I'm sorry for the idiot over there.
The barrage of criticism against Governor Christie continues as his opponents are calling him vindictive and corrupt. Karl Rove and Britt Hume will analyze what is behind this very personal campaign.
It is sometimes difficult to understand what Senator Obama has said, because as soon as he is confronted on it, he says that's not what he meant.
A new book says Hillary Clinton is also vindictive and lists the names of people on her hit list. We'll take a look at it.
You have a teacher that raped a student and you want him paid? You know that's wrong.
And one of the most disgraceful situations we have seen in a long time. The Michigan Teachers Union trying to get money for a convicted child molester.
How do you morally justify that, sir? Answer the question.
Caution. You are about to enter the no spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The politics of destruction, that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. No question, some Democrats are trying to destroy New Jersey Governor Christie. That's because they see him as a threat to Hillary Clinton in 2016 in the presidential race. Christie's traffic scandal is pretty bad. Lots of people were adversely affected. He says he didn't know about it. Fair-minded people should believe him until there is evidence to the contrary. Mr. Christie's style, which propelled him to political success, is now hurting him. One of the reasons Mitt Romney lost to President Obama in 2012 was that Governor Romney is too much of a gentleman. He refused to take the fight to the president. For example, in the third debate on foreign policy, Romney could have knocked the president all over the place with pointed questions about Benghazi. He did not do it, stunning many of us who felt it was a legitimate foreign policy issue. But Romney apparently did not have the fire in the belly to deliver a knockout blow. Christie does, and therefore is a threat to the power of the Democratic Party, because believe me, that party has lots of problems right now on lots of different fronts. And Christie, who is attractive to independent voters, could exploit those difficulties. Therefore, Christie must be marginalized, and a good way to do that is to use his bluster against him. Britt Hume put it this way.
Men today have learned the lesson the hard way, that if you act like a kind of an old-fashioned guy's guy, you're in constant danger of slipping out and saying something that's going to get you in trouble and make you look like a sexist or make you look like you seem thuggish or whatever.
So if you are passionate and state your position firmly and flamboyantly, as Governor Christie does, you become a huge target, especially if you make a mistake. Now, Talking Points believes the Democratic Party does not fear hard-right conservatives like Senator Cruz and Senator Paul. The left believes there are not enough committed conservative voters to elect those men. Of course, they could be wrong. Both Cruz and Paul are smart guys who can raise a lot of money, and they will certainly be factors in the upcoming primaries. But again, Governor Christie is, at this point, the biggest threat to the Democratic Party. So we are seeing a personal campaign lodged against him that will not calm down anytime soon. And that's a memo. Now, for the top story tonight, we'll have reaction from both Britt Hume and Karl Rove. First up, Mr. Rove, who joins us from Washington. So I'm correct again in my political analysis, right?
Mostly. On the big things, yes. Anytime there's somebody who's at parity with Hillary Clinton or near or ahead of her, as Christie's been in recent polls, the Democrats are going to, in my opinion, seek opportunities to knock him down a notch or two. And they had an opportunity with this bridge closing to knock Christie down a peg or two, and they jumped on it.
All right, but they're going to continue it. See, with anybody else, say this was the governor of Maine, and I love Maine, okay? But the governor of Maine is not going to run for president. He's not going to defeat Hillary Clinton. So if the governor of Maine had done this, one-day story maybe, okay? But this story is not going to go away in the left-wing precincts, and therefore a brand is going to be put on Governor Christie, a brand. And that brand is B-U-L-L-Y. How does he get rid of that brand?
Yeah, look, they're going to attempt to put that brand on him, but on the other hand, look, let's move away from 30 miles away from Manhattan, 30 miles away from the George Washington Bridge. They're 50 or 100 miles away, further out into America. And how are they viewing this? What they saw was a leader stand up and say, "My people screwed up. They did things that I found offensive. They lied to me, and I took action, definitive action. I fired them. No matter how close they were to me, I took action, and I'm going to go apologize to the people of Fort Lee, New Jersey, for this. And I've asked the mayor to receive me so I can personally apologize to him." Now, most people outside of the Northeast, outside of the New York area, are going to look at that and say, you know what, that's what we like to see in leaders: own up for mistakes and problems, take them on themselves, and apologize. Now, this is going to go on for a while. There's no doubt about it. And the Democratic Assembly leaders in New Jersey are going to try and make hay out of this. It's going to be covered by the New York Times. Unfortunately, New Jersey's next to New York, so the national media is going to pay attention to this. But you need to put it in perspective how most people are going to get this, and most people are going to get it that something bad happened, and Christie, unlike so many other people in politics and public life, owned up to it. Now, they may say he's a brash New Jersey guy, doesn't speak like us plain, simple people in the Midwest do. He's a little bit more brash and outgoing than we Scandinavians are. I mean, there are going to be lots of reactions to him as an individual, but I think we got to be careful about making big judgments about how most of America is going to perceive this as opposed to how the media is going to perceive this.
Look, you got 2 investigations on him, and then you got the New York Times, as you say, going to drive this story all day long. Okay, so say nothing else happens, and that's what happened. A couple of rogue staffers did this. And at this time, 6 months from now, people have forgotten about it. You also have, though, the war on women thing, because as soon as Hillary Clinton announces it's going to be the historic first woman, she's going to be the first president, and you saw with Rick Lazio, who ran against her for the Senate here in New York, if you're aggressive, you're bullying Mrs. Clinton, and this is a perfect tag for Christie. Now, I know this is a long-winded question, but there are 2 other things in play. John McCain did not go after Barack Obama over the Reverend Wright stuff because I think that Senator McCain just didn't want to get into the racial morass, so he didn't do it. And he wasn't aggressive in running down Barack Obama's achievements, which were scant at that time in his career. Mitt Romney totally blew it. I mean, he just wouldn't bring the fight to the president. He allowed him to rope-a-dope and get away with a whole bunch of stuff that Chris Christie wouldn't have done either of those. All right, Chris Christie would have been right on the Reverend Wright stuff and right on the Benghazi stuff, and that's what the Democrats are afraid of. So they've got to destroy Christie before he can get to the primaries.
Well, I'm not convinced that it's just Christie. Christie is the target of opportunity for them now, but they're going to be serial attackers because anytime anybody in the polls gets close to Hillary Clinton, they're going to look back at the lesson of 2012 to Democrats. What they took away from that was Republicans never counterpunch, so all we got to do is pummel these people.
Right.
I think the Republicans are going to take away from 2012 and 2008 the lesson that, if you get attacked, sometimes in politics the counterpunch is more powerful than the punch. And they're going to be, in a respectful, appropriate way, I think, coming back at the Democratic attacks. Now, right now, Christie has to absorb these blows because that's just the way it is. But I think the Republican candidates, whoever they are going to have to steel themselves for the moment, whether you're Scott Walker or Ted Cruz, Rick Perry, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, John Kasich, Rick Snyder, whoever the Republican candidates are, they're going to be on the receiving end anytime they get close in the polls to Mrs. Clinton. And they're going to also have to deal with this, that the media is consciously or unconsciously going to aid the Democrats in this effort. Look, we have a scandal emerging today. It turns out Hillary Clinton had an enemies list.
Well, we're doing that. Yeah, we're doing that with Brit Hume.
Yeah, and think about how is anybody out there demanding we need to hear answers from Hillary Clinton today? A week from now, is the media going to be spending as much time on this as they're going to be spending on Chris Christie in a week? I don't think so.
All right, Karl Rove, everyone, there she is. And next on the rundown, as I mentioned, Brit Hume on why tough guys are dangerous in politics, and a new book that Mr. Rove mentioned saying Hillary Clinton does have an enemies list. Wow. The Factor is coming right back.